a World Cup penalty, a possible offside, a VAR check that ended almost instantly. And then, live on ITV, Gary Neville absolutely lost it. During Qatar versus Switzerland, one decision turned a Group B clash into one of the biggest early VAR controversies of the 2026 World Cup. Fans were confused. Commentators were convinced something had been missed. And Neville accused FIFA's handling of the situation of feeling like a dictatorship. Why? Because the decision was not just about whether Switzerland should have been awarded a penalty. It was about something much bigger: trust, transparency, and whether football fans are actually being shown the evidence behind the biggest calls. And this time, FIFA had to explain itself. The controversy began in the first half, with Switzerland pushing into the Qatar penalty area. A headed pass was played forward, and Swiss midfielder Remo Freuler chased it down inside the box. He got to the ball before Qatar goalkeeper Mahmoud Abunada, lifting it over him just before the two players collided. The referee immediately pointed to the penalty spot. At first glance, it looked like a dangerous moment for Qatar. But almost immediately, the bigger question became, was Freuler offside when the ball was played through? The collision was heavy. Both players stayed down, with Abunada especially shaken after crashing headfirst into the attacker. But while the medical concern was unfolding on the pitch, viewers at home were watching the replay and asking the same question. Was the Swiss player ahead of the last offender? The first replay did not fully settle it, but it was enough to make many fans believe the penalty would be overturned. ITV commentator Lee Dixon was convinced straight away. He believed the player had moved just far enough beyond the defensive line and that the referee could not have spotted it in real time. So everyone waited. The stadium waited. The players waited. The commentators waited. Fans watching around the world waited. And then the screen showed two words: check complete. No offside lines. No semi-automated graphic. No clear visual explanation. Just check complete. That was the moment the confusion exploded. Switzerland were allowed to take the penalty. Qatar goalkeeper Mahmoud Abunada was booked for his role in the challenge and for questioning the decision afterward. Briel Mbolo stepped up for Switzerland and calmly placed the ball into the bottom left corner, giving his side the lead after 17 minutes. But the goal did not end the debate. It made it worse, because viewers had seen replays of the incident, but they had not seen the one thing that could have ended the argument: the automated offside image. No lines, no animation, no proof shown live. For a tournament using advanced technology, the lack of explanation was exactly what frustrated fans, pundits, and the ITV studio. At halftime, Gary Neville did not hold back. He questioned why FIFA, as the host broadcaster, had access to the automatic decision evidence, but had not shown it to the audience. For Neville, that was the problem. Not only the decision itself, but the silence around it. He said there was a massive question mark over the incident because, in his view, it looked offside until FIFA proved otherwise. Then came the line that cut through the whole debate. Neville said that having the information but not sharing it with fans felt like a dictatorship. That was a huge statement on live television, but it captured the mood of the moment. Fans were not just angry because Switzerland had been awarded a penalty. They were angry because they felt locked out of the process. Ian Wright also called for transparency, asking why viewers had not been shown the automated offside graphic. To him, the player looked offside, and without the technology being displayed, the decision made little sense. Online, fans echoed the same frustration. Some were convinced the Swiss player was off, others demanded FIFA release the offside technology images to prove why the goal had stood. And that is exactly what eventually happened, but not immediately. According to the report, FIFA only released the images around 3 hours after full time. By then, the controversy had already taken off. FIFA then explained that during the Qatar versus Switzerland match in the San Francisco Bay Area, a brief technical outage had prevented the onside animation graphic from being generated ahead of the penalty awarded to Switzerland in the 14th minute. FIFA insisted the VAR workflow itself had not been affected. The check followed normal procedure, and the lines used by VAR did not show the attacking player to be offside in either of the two situations immediately before the penalty decision. In other words, FIFA's position was clear. The player was onside, the decision was checked correctly, and the penalty stood for the right reason. But that explanation came too late for many viewers. Because in live football, timing matters. If the technology exists, fans expect to see it when the decision is made, not hours later after the anger has already spread across social media, television studios, and fan debates. And that is the heart of this controversy. It was not only about Remo Freuler. It was not only about Mahmoud Abunada. It was not only about Brilimbolo's penalty. It was about whether football's biggest tournament is giving fans enough access to understand the most important decisions. And with this being only one of the early matches of the tournament, VAR is already under pressure. The Qatar versus Switzerland incident was not even the first controversy of this World Cup. The USA's win over Paraguay had already drawn attention because of the use of the mistaken identity rule, which FIFA later clarified. Now, just days into the tournament, another VAR debate has taken center stage. So what do we take from this? Switzerland got the penalty. Brilimbolo scored. FIFA later released the image showing the player was onside. And the organization said the VAR process worked as normal despite the technical issue with the animation graphic. But for Gary Neville, Ian Wright, Lee Dixon, and thousands of fans watching live, the damage was already done. Because the moment that mattered most was not explained when it happened. And in modern football, that is becoming one of VAR's biggest problems. Technology was introduced to remove doubt. But when the evidence is hidden, delayed, or unclear, it can create even more suspicion. FIFA may believe the correct decision was reached, but the reaction from fans and pundits shows that being right is no longer enough. The process has to be visible. The explanation has to be immediate. And in a World Cup watched by millions, every second of silence can turn one penalty into a global controversy. This was supposed to be a routine VAR check. Instead, it became one of the first major flashpoints of the 2026 World Cup. And after Gary Neville's explosive reaction live on ITV, one thing is certain. FIFA's VAR transparency is now under serious scrutiny.